Welcome, welcome, welcome to this month's Deal Clinic Live. It is February and it is the month of love. So we think you're going to love, love, love the deals that we will be walking you through on today's show. I am super enthused. So last month, we announced the launch of our Dubai deals. I'm going to call it the Dubai deals that you can delight in. So our Dubai delights. So this month, we're going to run through the actual numbers and what's involved with those deals. Last month, Katie Orr and Ed Prescott went through why it's a really good way to invest in Dubai and what's involved in that and what that can actually bring to you. So I highly recommend you watch the January episode. Now, before we get into it, as always, this is being recorded live and the recording will be posted on our YouTube channel, Sourcing Investments Limited, in about a week's time. Between now and then, you'll see snippets of the show go out across our social media on Instagram, Facebook, and our YouTube shorts. So, as always, feel free to drop your comments in the chat box. I will keep my eye on those for you and present those questions to Katie and Ed at the most convenient time. Ask the questions because it helps you understand and identify what the actual deal is for you and how it works best. So with that, I am your host and I will be now introducing you to our presenters of the month who understand Dubai in a really solid way. We have Ed Prescott and Katie Orr, as mentioned last month as well. Ed has a solid grounding in property investment. He has worked both in the UK and in Dubai himself and is our UK-based agent here with Sourcing Investments. He has a proven track record of his own residential developments here in the UK and has a good practical development insight on how to guide investors through high-yielding acquisitions. Katie herself has also been in the property industry for more than 5 years now, majority of that in the UK, but Dubai called her and she is now helping investors for well over a year of turning their investments into turning their property investments into solid investments that really work for them. So I'm just still letting people into the room. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Ed and Katie, who are going to walk you through our Dubai deals for February. Katie and Ed, over to you.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Bonnie, for the wonderful introduction. Yes, so welcome everybody to the second Dubai webinar, and thank you for attending. Thank you for your time today. Just a bit of background on me, if you didn't attend last month. So as Bonnie mentioned, my background is heavily real estate focused across Dubai and the UK. I moved to Dubai in 2008, where I worked for a property developer over there. I then moved into the sales and leasing side of the sector, focusing on the local market over there. I then worked in London, selling sort of high-end, luxurious real estate over in northwest London, and I then moved into doing my own developments. Um, Started off with sort of small HMOs, buy-to-lets, refurb deals, and then focused on small to medium-sized new build developments over in southeast London. Since then, I've been consulting for a number of my clients who are based in the Middle East and in the UK on investment property in Dubai. And I'm spending my time between Dubai and the UK at the moment, cultivating my network um, building relationships with the top tier developers in Dubai so that we can get the best opportunities in the market. I'm also working closely with top tier agents like Katie over at KO Estates, who's got a lot of experience, who's based on the ground in Dubai day in, day out. And we are actively coming across the best launches, off-plan launches with the top tier developers every week. And there's such a thriving market in Dubai now. So what we've done is we've brought these opportunities to the sourcing investments platform, and we hope that we can share with you, discuss with you what your investment goals are, and we look forward to presenting these deals to you, and hopefully have a long-lasting relationship. So, any questions you've got, please reach out to me on the platform itself. I will be putting deals up there every other day, every other week, and feel free to reach out to me on there. We will be looking to get representatives from the developers to attend these calls as well. So lots of exciting things to come, and yeah, we look forward to working with you. So I'll hand you over to Katie now. She can give you a bit of an introduction to herself, and she'll run through a couple of the deals that we have on the platform.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ed. And thank you for the lovely warm introduction, buddy. It's lovely to jump on again. You're not bored of us from the last one, so I appreciate it. I'm really, really excited to run through a little bit of background if we haven't met before. I'm Katie. I am a property investor myself. I get the position that you were in, navigating the market and everything else. But way before that, I never planned on getting into property. I completely fell into the space. And it was when I was looking for a property for myself to live in, I was starting to document that process on social media. So the viewings I was going on, the numbers behind the deals, I was looking at the flips. And then people started to reach out like, oh, could you help me find something similar on these deals? And that's where I started then property sourcing. So finding really, really good investments and selling them on to investors for a fee. One thing led to another. We scaled an investment agency over in the UK, but more and more of my clients were Dubai based. So I was spending more time in the Dubai region, backwards and forwards. Anyway, a year and a half ago now, I made the move officially into the Dubai market. And it is an incredible market. It's very fast paced. There's a launch here every 18 hours. And I understand, being on the ground in property full time, how overwhelming it is. And I'm in the industry every single day. So I just think, how is some international investor meant to navigate this alone? So that is kind of why we do what we do, to make it simple. We work with a lot of UK investors, helping them to invest over here. If you weren't part of the session last month, we did a lot of the groundwork. So I definitely recommend kind of going back there. And that's why I always start there, because before we even look at a floor plan, like you guys, investors, you know what a floor plan, bricks and mortar, it's the same strategy. Usually we don't struggle to get our head around that concept. When we're looking at a new territory, there's so many other things that we need to think about. Is finance possible? New locations, what to look out for, who to work with developers, because it is a different ball game. So I would highly recommend, if anyone didn't make that one, jump on the last session, because the ones I'm going to go through today, it's more of a continuation rather than a replay, if that makes sense. So if there is any questions or anything as we're going through that you're like, hang on a minute, pop it in the chat and Bonnie will help us make it all happen. So yeah, today I wanted to go through two different examples, because last time, as I said, we went through the foundations, Dubai as a whole, locations, developers, kind of all the groundwork. But then if you're anything like me, I'm like, okay, well, let's see what this actually looks like. Show me numbers, show me floor plans, so I could see in real life what this could look like. So I wanted to bring two different deals for us today, entry-level products with top-tier developers, so that we know we're looked after, and two very different products. So we'll run through them, and we can always use these as a starting point, because I always say, like, sometimes it takes you to see a deal to understand what the finances look like, the payment plans look like, and you might go, oh, actually, based on that payment plan, it's way more affordable than I thought, and we could look at a 2-bed. Or no, actually, based on that information, we need to look in a different location where it's at a lower entry point or a different payment plan. So I think regardless, it's nice to have a starting point for what this could look like. And as I said, everything's in the portal for you to have a look at anyway at the end. So let me share my screen and show you what we've kind of been working on over the last couple of months. I mean, this is Dubai in general as a whole. If you've been to Dubai, don't know whether anyone spends a lot of time here, you're probably familiar with like the key areas. You've got the Palm, you've got downtown, you've got the Burj Khalifa. These are the completed communities. They are very much already built out. Okay, you can go there, you can see the products. And the early guys that got into those investments day one, I mean, I had a friend that bought an apartment on the Palm when the Palm was just a concept. So he, at the time, was called crazy. What, you're buying an apartment on the Palm on an island that doesn't even exist yet? Hang on a minute. Like, at the time, genuinely people thought he was crazy. He bought a 1-bedroom apartment on the Palm. And for 50,000 Great British on a payment plan. That apartment since is literally 20x. So I think people have now seen that life cycle of actually what the benefits are for getting into an area early and then riding that wave through capital appreciation. Those areas now, they are completed. They are more of a steady asset, I would say. And there's never kind of a right or wrong. It always depends on what you personally want out of the investment, whether you're looking for security in the cash flow or whether you're looking for that capital appreciation. Those completed communities now, they are looking at kind of less of a severe capital appreciation growth because they are more built out. There's less land available there now, and they're more kind of steady and consistent. So for my clients that are looking for those new locations, tell me what the Palm was 20 years ago. I would say in general, the Dubai landscape, it is moving more and more south. Now, for a few reasons, they announced the launch of Palm Jebel Ali last year, which is like the new and improved, bigger and better Palm. They took all their learnings from the first Palm and have deployed it over here. So more entry points because traffic was a problem, more water flows because water stagnation was a problem. So they've really taken the learnings and then launched the next Palm. They also launched at the early start of last year, the new airport. And this is why these two growth areas are really pulling Dubai down south. Now, this new airport, it's sat in this plot of land here. It's literally to be triple the size of Dubai Airport, a capacity of 250 million passengers. If anyone's been to Dubai Airport, you know, it's pretty big already. So this one's going to be the biggest one in the world in true Dubai style. Now, what that does mean for the area, it's going to see an explosion of growth. And this is why it's a real hotspot right now in terms of investment. And more than just the airport itself. Obviously, you've got the airport. It's going to have 1 million staff working in it as it stands. It's going to have 250 million passengers in and out all year. But outside of that, you've also got this plot of land here called Expo City. So currently all the big events hosted in Dubai, they're hosted at the World Trade Center, which is central Dubai downtown. So as you can imagine, when there's a big event, the whole city is kind of in chaos, especially the traffic, because that event center was never really meant to hold the events that it does. So they needed this new area for this. And this is why they've built Expo City, the biggest events capital of the Middle East. And that is going to hold all the types of events from expos, festivals, you name it, it's going to be there. There's already 300 scheduled events for this year, and it's only going to grow and expand. So on top of that, obviously the connectivity that comes with the airport, the tourism that will come with this events capital of the Middle East. You've also got businesses influxing into this area. We've already seen DP World, Siemens, all move their headquarters to this area because they understand the fundamentals that make it a really, really strong area for now, but also the future. So when we are looking at investing over here, really the only opportunity in this plot of land were government-backed developers. And they are the likes of EMAR and Expo City. They are fantastic developers. They've done downtown Burj Khalifa. They create great communities. They capital appreciate really well. They look after investors. They're the biggest players in the game. And everyone says where Emaar goes, real estate flows. They're really good guys to keep an eye on because they are the government developer. So they know what's going on before anyone else knows what's going on. They also get priority when it comes to road access and changes and everything like that. So they were able to come in and launch here before anyone knew what this space was going to be. So Emaar are a great investment. And for investors that come to me who are looking to just deploy cash, who aren't looking to finance, Emaar are a great option. They've got an 80-20 payment plan, and that's why I only really recommend them to my cash buyers. What that means is during construction, 80% of the property value is required and 20% on handover, which is financed. But my clients who are coming to me looking for maximum capital appreciation, looking to use leverage, use finance, it's not probably the best option in the market because it means you have to have a lot of the cash throughout the construction period. So the first opportunity for investors to get in here with a much more preferable payment plan because it wasn't a government developer was Avenue 888. Now, Avenue 888 came to the market, and it's no coincidence they were the first to get into this area, and it's been a very, very popular product. Avenue were created from the ex-CEO of Emaar. So the ex-CEO of Emaar stepped away to create their company, which gives investors a great in because of those relationships with Emaar, means they get premium plots. So Avenue came to the market. They've had 2 launches here already, which completely sold out. It's getting a lot of hype and traction in the market because of who's built it and who's around them. So they came to the market with this product, and you will see that the product looks very Emaar, feels very Emaar, and that's because it's got a very similar team around it. It's got the same architects, materials, furnishings, same CEO. So you can see the similarities. You can see that they've got similar plots. But the greatest thing about it is that because it isn't Emaar, you're getting a much more flexible payment plan and you're not paying Emaar prices. Hence why it's been so popular and these things sell out pretty quickly. So the development itself is all sat around this central spine of community facilities. Literally everything you can think of: spa, sauna, basketball courts, paddle courts, dog centres, co-working spaces, you name it, it has got it. You literally don't need to leave. They're going to have premium cafes and restaurants below the bottom. A really, really nice thought through development. And you can see with every single thing that they've put into this project, you can definitely see the government ties, the Emaar ties that they've been able to bring across and deploy the most successful things of Emaar into this new product. Now, I know we're all investors, so when you see stuff like this, I'm like, well, talk to me about the numbers, because all that I'll need to be paying for. So let me just pull up the payment plan of what this could actually look like. Now, I always say take this with a pinch of salt because availability changes all the time. Like, these things come, they go very, very quickly, but we can use the data that we've had from the previous launch to predict what the next one's going to look like. A 1-bedroom in this project started at around 950,000 dirham. I still work in Great British pounds in my head, so I've got that conversion there for you. So you're looking at the guts of like 200k for a 1-bedroom in this apartment. It's on a 50-50 payment plan. So to secure the unit, you need 10% on booking plus your 4% DLD. Your DLD is your equivalent of your stamp duty. So all in, you are looking at 27,900, about 28,000 to secure your unit. That's all your fees paid. Oh, you do have a small admin fee in there for all the contracts, the SPAs that are getting sent out, everything. So all in to book the unit, you're looking at about 29,000 on a unit like this. Then you are put into the payment plan. So there's a further 10% needed 30 days after your booking. And then essentially every 6 months, you've got a further 10% to pay up until handover, which is Q2 2028, where the final 50% would be due. 50%, this one's mortgageable. So these payments are made when the dates come up throughout the construction updates, but this final one can be mortgaged. So typically, like 3 months before handover, we'd have that chat with the conversation with the broker who can put the best product in place at the time to make that final payment for you. And then at that point, the property is yours. The keys are in your hand. You can do with the property what you like. You can live in it yourself. You can rent it out. You can short-term let it. This location gives you so many different options, because not only have you got 1 million people working in the airport, and all the Emirates staff, they get a housing allowance. They need to live somewhere. We've got pilots buying into this project. So that's the type of clientele that you can see living in this property. But on the other side of that, you are 10 minutes down from Expo City, where all the events will be going on. You're next to the airport. So even the short-term lets are going to be a stronger option here for you as well. But in terms of the numbers, oh, sorry, go on, Bunny.
Sorry to interrupt. We have a question if you could kindly enlarge the screen so that they can see.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you so much.
How's that looking?
Looks better. Good to me. If Vasca can let me know if that is better,
good stuff.
It would be amazing.
So that's kind of what you would be putting in for a unit like this. When we're looking at what we are putting out, I always like to underpromise, overdeliver. In reality, this isn't going to be built for 2028, okay? So I can give you some guidance around what we expect this to see based on what we've got in the market today, but no one can ever guarantee anything. So what I like to do is just build up the picture from the live data in the live market that we have in the market today. As I said, this project is virtually a carbon copy of something called the Collective in Dubai Hills in Dubai. So it's a really, really good comparable for us to use in terms of what are the rents like. When you look at the actual, like the type of property, the co-working spaces, the event spaces they've created in this project, I'd say it's the closest comparable in the market. So when I went in today, hang on, I might need to zoom this one in too. Zoom in. I don't know whether that's readable at all, but these are the live new contracts for this project, which is the closest comparable for one beds. Now you can see here, you've got 80,000 dirham for a year, 94,000 dirham for the year, 80,000, 90,000, 95, 95, and that's AED for the year. Also, side note, if you weren't in the last one, typically your rent over here can be paid upfront for a year, which is beautiful for us as investors. No downtime, no void periods, all that good stuff. So based on today's market rents, and I've been conservative, I've gone for the lowest number that we've seen there. I've put in 80,000 AED for the year, which is about 17,000 British. Then we need to minus our service charges. So all those facilities you saw, there's going to be concierge, there's going to be staff, there's going to be cleaners, there's going to be lifeguards, everything there, it's 15 dirham per square foot. So on a unit of this size, a one bedroom, that's about 10,000 dirham per year, about 2,200. That's going to be all your costs associated with owning the property and keeping up with all the facilities. That includes your building insurance, literally everything you're going to need as an investor here. Then you do the maths on that. When we're looking at the net returns, you're looking at a 7.3% based on those numbers. And I'd say we're definitely being conservative. Like, this is live in the market today. Rents typically go up 10% a year. And over here, the airport's not even created yet. You've got the short-term let options, but I'd always prefer you to be happy with worst case scenario. Anything else is going to be a nice win. So really, really strong on the yield side of things. But I know a lot of you guys are getting in for the capital appreciation. Now, capital appreciation, again, it's a new area. How can we know what that's going to look like? This pulls all the live data. So every single transaction in Dubai, it is live, it's transparent, so we've got access to the data. In the last 12 months in Dubai South, they had a 24% increase in capital appreciation on property prices down there. So when I was doing the numbers of what this would look like, I've been conservative. I've assumed 20% for the next 3 years. And that helps to just demonstrate what cash you'd be putting in, what cash you would be pulling out if you were to sell on handover. Again, everyone's in it for different reasons. Some are looking to flip, some are looking to hold retirement fund. What I like about this project is even if you do have a plan A of I want to sell this on handover, plan B still looks pretty good. So it's nice to know that like both angles are going to work, and that's why it has been a really, really popular product. We saw the first launch literally sell out. The second launch was the same. And there's a third launch coming up. So the launch process about this and getting in early and getting access is definitely the best thing to do to get access to these units. Once they sell out, it's a great thing because then the owners of those properties can start to benchmark the price of what you can sell them for in the market. So a competitive launch can feel stressful, but actually it can really benefit us as investors. This one is on the portal. So if you do want any more information about this or getting teed up for the next launch, the best thing I would say to do is like, let's book in a call, let's have a conversation just so you can be in the right place at the right time. Because we want to make sure you're in the queue early and to make it happen, basically. Cool, good stuff. Does anyone have any questions on that one before I roll into the next one?
We don't have any questions yet, Katie, so I think let's dive into the next deal, please. That's amazing.
Sensational. Okay, cool, sounds good. So that is a really, really good option. It's been super, super strong with a lot of my clients. Now, the other option, let me jump back into the map. Just so you've got something to compare it to, because if I just show you one project and you're like, okay, that's cool, but is that good for Dubai? Is that like standard? Also, side note, like what we went through last month kind of demonstrates how we come to the conclusion of like, this is a deal I would recommend. Like we're at briefings every single week, multiple briefings. Only the good ones ever make it to these stages because there's a lot we have to kind of go through to navigate to find you the best ones. This one, again, is a really, really popular product for a different type of investor. Again, it's still an entry product. It's still a top tier developer, but this Avenue 888, it's going to look after you every day on capital appreciation, rental yields, but it's not an overnight success. An airport does not show up very quickly. Okay, this is a longer term play. So for my clients that are like, that all sounds great, but I'm looking for something a little bit closer in terms of your time frame, that's when I suggest looking at something like the Imtiaz project up here. So the Imtiaz project sits in this plot of land called Dubai Land. In terms of the location itself, which is one of the fundamentals of any investment, you are sat in this plot of land just here. So you're wrapped around three major arteries of Dubai. Dubai do a lot of things right. Traffic is one thing they do struggle with. So this is a really, really good insight in terms of connectivity to the rest of Dubai. On the opposite side of the road, you have Academy City. Academy City is home to Dubai's biggest universities, academies. It's growing. We've got 30,000 students there already. That's where it's all going on in terms of your education, that side of things. On the other side of the road, you've got Dubai Silicon Oasis. Now, this is Dubai's tech hub. This is on the 2040 plan. There's so much development going on here. This is a huge, huge, huge area of concentration for Dubai. There's 20,000 registered businesses in there already. The closest residential area to these hotspots is in this plot of land here. Accessibility, you're already wrapped around those roads. You're 15 minutes away from downtown. This is a toll-free, traffic-free road. And on top of that, there's a metro station coming in just here, which again, another way of accessibility to the rest of the city. So it ticks a lot of boxes in terms of the location, accessibility. And then we zoom in a little bit further. There's a number of developers that have come into this spot here, and they stand out by a mile, to be honest, for value, is the Imtiaz projects that they came to the market with. Now, Imtiaz have 14 years experience in the game. Actually, before they were even developers, they were contractors. So they have the contract team internally. They were doing the contracting for all these big developers, Showboat, everyone. And then they thought, hang on a minute, why are we making everyone else money? Let's bring this in-house. That's where they created the Imtiaz developments. And they have had an incredible track record in terms of the products, the handover, deliverability. Typically, their projects actually hand over ahead of schedule, which is unheard of in this market. And it saves us money as investors. If a project's late, that's like 6 months rental income we've missed out on. So because they actually do everything in-house, they are the contractors, it means their designs actually hand over looking like the designs. They are in control of everything from start to finish. They're in control of the contractors, meaning they can deliver on time because they're in charge of where staff goes, where labor goes, materials, everything. So in terms of a top tier quality developer, they definitely tick that box. Their projects themselves, they outperform a lot of other developers for a few reasons. They have incredible facilities, incredible amenities, and also one of their unique selling points is that they are fully furnished. So when it comes to handover, you have a literally ready to go walk-in property. And when I say fully furnished, let me find the photos, because this is more than just furnished. This is like interior designed, all the wall coverings, everything you see here, it comes with. So the chairs, the carpets, the curtains, the lighting, all the wall panelings, the bed. So it's literally ready to go. And this is why you can understand why their projects see more rent. I can show you 2 projects side by side, an Imtiaz one and a different developer. These guys will get higher rents. Firstly, if you were a renter in the market and you see this versus a white walled apartment, naturally you're going to pay the premium to be in this property. But on that rolls right through to the capital appreciation. People pay a premium to live in these properties because of the facilities, the amenities, and the quality of product that they're able to create. So in terms of the numbers, again, all this is on the website, so you can grab all the brochures and browse at your own leisure. But the numbers around something like this, their projects in that area, they had studios starting from about 750 AED, about 157 Great British. Their payment plan, every single developer will offer different payment plans. And this is why once we have a chat and understand, okay, well, what cash do we want to deploy over what time period, we can kind of pair you with the right developer that's going to work best for your strategy. But these guys will take 20% on booking.
Kate,
and your 4%.
Sorry to interrupt. Apologies. Can we enlarge this again, please? Yes. And then once you've done that, I actually have a couple of questions that have
fire away.
So Vasca has asked, what are the risks of off-plan investments in Dubai? And wasn't there a time when a lot of property developers in Dubai went insolvent several years ago? And I know that we're going to touch on that. And Arthur would like to know what protection there is in place for deposits and scheduled payments.
Perfect. Great question. And I'm glad you've asked it. So the security element, especially off-plan, on paper, off-plan is probably the riskier option, right? It's not there yet. We've got to put our trust in developers, their vision for the future, finances, everything else. So Dubai did have a history back in the day of there was a few horror stories that went wrong. Then they had their whole kind of process for Dubai is they want to make Dubai, and we kind of touched on this last week, they want to make Dubai the best city in the world. They knew they could not afford to have horror stories like this. So as soon as that started to happen, they really shifted gear and put a lot of different policies in place to make sure you were secure and make sure because as soon as something like that happens, the whole market will turn their attention away from it because they can't trust them. So now for any development that's coming to the market, there's a rigorous process around everything. There's something called the REST app, REST. If you are buying property over here, renting property over here, definitely something to download. It gives you the track record, the history on every single developer, every single project. Before a project can go live, and if a project's not on this app, don't invest in it. For a project to get approved on this app, it has to go through all these different approval processes. Firstly, does the developer own the land? That sounds so simple, but honestly, in the Manchester market, I saw developers launch projects and they didn't even own the land yet. So every single I and T has to be crossed before they can get on this app. They have to prove they've got the finances. 90% of the time, a project wouldn't make it to completion around the world is mainly due to finances. So Dubai makes sure, firstly, the developer has the money to make this happen. But secondly, that they actually have skin in the game. So before a project can go live, a developer has to put 20% of the total value into an escrow account. They cannot get access to that money until they deliver on what they've promised. So these developers have skin in the game to make this happen. Otherwise, it's not going to work financially for them. And the escrow accounts is really important because it's not just for the developers, it's for us. Done properly, you are never paying a developer directly. All these staged payments, they're put into the escrow, third-party account between you and the developer. The developer doesn't get access to your money until they've delivered on what they've promised. So again, it's that security measure. This escrow account is held by the DLD, the Dubai Land Department, a government entity, to make sure all the funds and transactions are super safe and super secure. And then I always say, like, we kind of triple lock that whole investment by only working with top tier developers who, you know, have time and time again delivered on a product. You know the quality, you know, have they delivered on time? Have they got the finances around it to make it happen? To give you that peace of mind of these guys do this every single day. Of course they are going to deliver. That's why Email have the track record we do. They're a government developer. They have the finances in place and they've created hundreds and hundreds at this point of developments, that it's really hard to argue that this next project that they launch isn't going to make it to completion, if that makes sense.
That's great. Thank you, Katie. That was amazing. I do have several more questions for you.
You can come in, let's do it.
I can see from your spreadsheet that the size of the studio apartment is 700, but Louis wants to know what are the sizes of the one beds. And then I have some more questions with regards to investing, SPATs, deeds, etc.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So in this particular project, they've got studios of all different shapes and sizes, one beds of all different shapes and sizes. So this studio example here is about 700. You've got your one bedrooms. They can be starting from 800 to 1,000. It really depends. Some of them they do, which is popular right now, your one bedrooms with kind of a study, you know, for everyone kind of working from home. So they're a little bit larger. Again, some of them come with bigger terrace. So it can kind of change. But those one beds were in this project, again, every project's different, is starting at around 1 million. And your studios were coming in cheaper. On the Avenue option, they actually don't have any studios in that development at all. They start at one bed, so you've got your 2, 3 beds as well in there.
Okay, amazing. I have some more questions coming through, so please bear with me. So Vas would like to know, what types of tenants typically do you have renting? For example, are they professionals working in Dubai long term, or expats working there for like 6 to 12 months? What kind of tenants do you tend to, or do you find tend to use these?
Yeah, so it's so different. I mean, Dubai has 1,000 people moving here every single day. Like, the influx of people is wild, and all these people, they need somewhere to live. So obviously, based on the property, based on the price, you're going to attract different types of people. For example, downtown DIFC, where the ticket price is a lot higher, there you're going to see business professionals who live in and work in the city. I think something like this, like Avenue we touched on, you're going to be next to the airport. Think of all the Emirates staff, think of all the pilots who work down there, but you've also got the short-term stays from Expo City. I'd say in a project like this, you are opposite from Academy City. So you've got the option for the student side of things, especially with the studios, but also your Dubai Silicon Oasis is going to be young working professionals that need to be close to work. So, I mean, Dubai in general, to live here, you have to have a working visa. So they're all working professionals of some description. You can't enter into a long-term tenancy contract without having a visa, which means they're working. And a lot of the times you're getting rent paid upfront for the year. So you've got the clientele will obviously depend on your location, price point, and type of property, but they're very, very much working professionals. Your short-term stays, then you've got different options. Some of them actually do take longer term stays. So for example, when I first moved here, I didn't know where I wanted to live, work. So I Airbnb'd. I would stay a month over here, then a month over here until I found where I wanted to be. So that's great for the investor who's Airbnbing that out. There's no turnover. And also when you are first moving over, you've not got your visa set up yet. It takes a minute to do that. So it's an entry point that a lot of people take, is actually taking a 1 month lease somewhere to kind of get everything set up, your visa, where you want to be, etc. So that Airbnb model of actually longer term stays, because I think when people think Airbnbs, you just think tourists, which there's 18 million tourists last year. There's a lot of visitors going on, and you've got a big industry for that. But actually, it isn't just the short term stays. There are professionals over here that will take a month at a time, 2 months at a time, as your own tenant.
That's great to know, and thank you for answering that. So based on the back of that, would you say that demand for apartments currently outstrips supply?
Oh, crikey, yes. The apartment navigating that whole process, genuinely, as someone who's just moved house, they're like, okay, guys, listen up, everyone in, let's do the viewing. And it's the first person to get the check-in for the year. And they're like, oh, like, try and negotiate that one. And you're like, can we do like 2 checks for the year? And they're like, sweetness, no, because I've got a queue of 5 people who are looking to pay 1 check for the year. So because you're in a place where supply is so little, when demand is so much, you've got 1,000 people moving in every single day. The landlords are in a position of all the control right now, because they can be like, oh, well, if you want it, then you're going to have to pay this. Or if you want it, you're going to have to pay up front for the year. And that's where kind of, demand right now is huge. And it's kind of got no signs of slowing down right now.
That's so good to know. That's so good to hear. So Arthur wants to know, does Dubai have a deeds office? Do you get a title?
Yes. So your title deed, especially in the off-plan world, so you will typically pay your 20%, your down payment, your 4% DLD. At that point, that unlocks an SPA, your sales purchase agreement. That is, sometimes it's even a DocuSign, super easy. You sign that form, that then unlocks your Oqood. So your Oqood is your title deed before the property is built. So it's your actual certificate to show ownership of something that isn't there yet. So what that actually unlocks for you is that if you were to sell this project before handover, okay, we all get into investment, we want long-term, whatever, but for whatever reason, if your currency situation changes, suddenly you need to deploy that capital somewhere else, for whatever reason, if you need to sell this before handover, you can do so because you've got your Oqood. You literally simply sell your title, your physical document to someone else, and they take over the payment plans from there. So you do have a certificate. It's not called title deed until it gets to completion. At the point of completion and handover, when you've paid that final payment, either via cash or mortgage, that's where it's swapped into a title deed and then works in a very similar way to the UK.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. And again, I think episode 1, January's episode, will go into will be very valuable to watch that episode, because you do go into a lot of detail. Arthur does want to know, and I think this comes back to the figures that you were mentioning before, when you were presenting. So are the drawdowns in arrears certificated on completed works?
Yeah, so each developer, let me jump into one. Each developer will run it differently. Some will say, okay, we're basing this on a timeline trajectory. So some will say, okay, you're due 5% on the 15th of September. 15th, just like it's a time-based payment plan, which some investors like because they know they can budget their entire cash flow for the next, they know when bonuses are coming in. So it's structured for them. Other developers will go, actually, we'll do it on construction to try and de-risk it for you. Okay, so if we're late on delivery and handover, you're not due to pay yet. Not that it's actually going to them, it's going to the escrow anyway, but it's trying to kind of bide that security with investors of like, well, you'll only pay once we hit 30% completion, then you'll only pay when we hit 40% completion. So each one of those payments is based on a construction timeline as opposed to a date timeline. So Some developers will work in a different way. There's pros and cons to both sides. Again, depends where you kind of feel more comfortable.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And we have one last question for the moment, is that one of our viewers wants to clarify that Dubai is tax-free and that he'll only need to pay UK tax as a UK resident on any property income and gains. And I think, again, you mentioned this in episode 1, January's episode.
Yeah. So it's a really good question. Dubai is tax-free. Like, genuinely, income tax, inheritance tax, capital gains tax, forget about it. But that's only if you live here as a resident. I'm no tax advisor, but the tax that kind of, I work closely with a tax advisor who helps a lot of my clients. Where if you are a resident living in the UK, you are taxed on your worldwide income. So if you do have a property here, you'd still be taxed in the regular way. You get the benefits of being in a property market which is outperforming and the yields and capital appreciation. But if you're still residing in the UK, naturally you're going to be paying UK taxes. There's things you can do to kind of mitigate that as much as possible. But yeah, if you're still living in the UK, you will have your taxes to think about there. But in Dubai, nothing. And so you're not getting penalised on both sides. It's also good to note, once your property value is of 750,000 dirham, so this one, for example, it actually unlocks a visa for you. So if you did want to move over and get all those tax-free benefits, it entitles you to do so.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And one last question with regards to, Arthur apologizes with regards to the drawdown question. He says he actually meant, is the developer, what he meant to say was, apologies, is the developer can only draw construction costs in arrears on completed works? I think that's meant to say can.
Okay. Yeah. So the how that process works, it's construction linked. So the RERA, who are like the property police, they are the government-backed entity that control this whole rest app. They're like your quantity surveyors in the UK. They'll go to the project, they'll go on site, have they done X, Y, and Z to unlock the next tranche payment.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Katie.
No stress. Keep the questions coming because it's fun. But why did I get up to? So we were talking about Cove, the payment plan on this one. We've got 20% down, 4%. And then, as we just touched on, you're in a time-based payment plan, 5% over the next 2 years. So Imtiaz are known for really condensing the construction period, which is perfect for my clients who are like, okay, I want the benefits of off plan, but I want to kind of speed this up. I don't really want to wait for a new airport to be built. So Imtiaz are kind of a great option to kind of condense that time a little bit more, because they're typically over a 2-year time period. And usually they've been known to be 3 to 6 months early on these completion dates that they give as well. So you're then popped into a payment plan, 5% in this case, every quarter, right the way up to completion and handover. And in the same way, about three months before handover and completion, we can put a mortgage broker in place to get you the best product at that time, to make that final payment for you, and then the property is yours. Now, the numbers on this one, again, I like to just pull the net data of what we've actually got. The great thing with Imtiaz is they've actually got a very similar product that they've just handed over on, which gives us really good insights into what we could expect to see in terms of the numbers. So this is Westwood Grand by Imtiaz. They've just handed over on it. And these are the live rental figures that we've got in the market today. So on a studio apartment in that building, we've got 74,000 AED, 62,000, 65,000, 60,000, 58,000, a mixture there of kind of what the going rents are for people moving in as of the 1st of Feb. So as fresh as we can get it there for you. And that's where I've put in these figures here. So based on the 70,000, which is what they're currently transacting today. Again, like I said, this will be a newer building, better facilities, better amenities, and in 2 years' time. So I would say this is conservative, but it is just the way I roll. You can fiddle around with this spreadsheet. I'll send you the link to see what that could look like for you. 70,000 dirham there. Your service charge on this one's 13 AED per square foot. Again, for all those facilities, the lifeguards, the concierge, the security, all that good stuff is going to be covered in there for you. So when you're looking at those net yields, you'd be looking at around 12,700 British in your income for that one. That's sitting at about 8.2% net yields. Then your capital appreciation, again, is another part of our investment. And to just show you kind of live what's been going on, we can follow this example all the way through of the project that they've just completed on. So investors that were buying in with them 2 years ago and now at that point where it's completed, you can look to sell it if they wanted to. And if I go to the latest studio that's been sold, so this investor bought with them May 2023 for 573 thousand AED. And then in December of 2025, have resold that same unit for 780,000. So in that 2-year time period, they've seen roughly a 50% growth over that construction period. And then when you are looking at the actual cash invested, so when you're on a 50-50 payment plan and you see a 50% growth, that's where investors are literally doubling the amount of money they've put into these projects over that 2-year period. So actually this whole kind of idea of flipping and buying into investment early, I'd always say it has to be the right project with the right developer in the right location, has become popular with investors because it allows them to get in early in a great product, benefit from the capital appreciation on a flexible payment plan. And then at hand, I would always say if you keep going down this avenue, once it's completed, you have more people in the market that can buy it from you. So if you can hang on to completion, definitely do, because suddenly the product is there, it's mortgageable, and the other side of the world opens up. When you are buying off plan, developers know they can really only sell to investors, because who as a family can tell where they're going to be in 2-4 years time? Are they going to have another child? What schools will they need to be around? So it's typically not end users buying on these off-plan launches, but by the time it comes to handover, not only can you sell to investors, but you've also got the completed side of the market, and that's where you see kind of the demand for that bit to spike as well. So again, it's a product that is you're very much safe and secure in terms of the developer, the location. It definitely ticks a lot of boxes. It's got a great flexibility on the payment plan, but is an alternative option to something like Dubai South, where you've got maybe a little bit longer on the turnaround time. So again, there is kind of no right or wrong. I would always suggest having a conversation to understand where you are right now, where you want to be, so we can bridge the gap with the right development. I think it's always important to have a starting point to actually bring this to life of what the deals could look like. But as I said, like, the inventory here changes so quickly. So understanding kind of your personal needs, whether it's for capital appreciation, whether it's for rental yields, whatever kind of you want out of it, we can kind of direct you into the right location and the right launch at any one time. Because yeah, as I said, things move, the good ones move quickly. So it's good to just kind of keep on top of everything that's going on. So if there is any more info that you do need on that, then it's on the platform. Ed's always available, but we can book in a call, have a good conversation, and yeah, help you navigate the chaos, basically.
Amazing. One last question. Ed has generously answered a couple of them in the chat box for me. So Arthur wanted to know what the max LTV on mortgages generally is, and Ed has kindly presented that it's 4.99% generally on a 65% LTV. But Arthur would like to know, are they capital and interest or interest only?
In Dubai, I've actually done a really good podcast session on the whole mortgage side of things, so I can definitely share the link. But in Dubai, they don't do interest only here yet. It's something they're kind of looking at in terms of the industry. But at the moment, it is just capital and repayments.
Okay. It must be something they're looking to bring in, I think, the interest only.
Yeah.
That's great to know. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I'm conscious of time, and Ed, I think you're going to just show the viewers actually your display screen, I believe I'm going to drop the link in the chat box of Ed's link so that you can contact him directly via the platform. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to Ed, and you can have those conversations with Ed and Katie with regards to the Dubai deals, just so that those questions can be answered in a lot more detail than just surface answers here for you, just to help you really get to the nuts and bolts of it. Ed, you want to carry on with your?
Yeah, can you see my screen, everyone?
Can see.
Yeah, thanks for
Lovely.
that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie, for going through all of that. Very insightful and educational for all of our viewers. So yeah, really appreciate that. As you can see on my screen, I have a profile, and you can view the properties that I've listed on my profile here. So we've got the one bed Cove Edition 5 by Imtiaz, which Katie went through. Obviously, as Katie mentioned, due to the fast-paced environment of the market, these units go very quickly. So what I might put up on there might not be available anymore. So I think the best thing to do is take a look, take your time, look through the deals that we put on there. If what you found out today through Katie's presentation is something of interest to you, then reach out to me directly on the platform. I can answer any questions that you might have. And then what I think we do is we set up a one-on-one call with Katie. We can go through all of your investment goals, what you're looking for, what your price points are, where you're looking to be located, and we can specifically tailor that investment for you. Because, for example, I've got another property that I put on there through a developer called Bingati. That particular unit they've sold out studios and one beds, but there are going to be new phases that they're launching. So I think it's worth your while just reaching out to us. We can sit down with you and we can work out exactly what it is you want. Because what I love about the off-plan market is that there's so many different strategies. There's the cash flow, there's the capital appreciation. As Katie mentioned with the Oqood, you could actually flip that property before it's even completed. So, there's several strategies. You could sell it on handover, or you could rent it out. It's just what are your goals? And we need to understand that. And the only way we can understand that is speaking to you. So it would be great if you could reach out to me directly, and then we can set that up. But just to run through, we've got the Imtiaz deal here, all the information regarding the description, the property details, and all of the pictures. I've also got the other one. There's the Avenue one. So any information you need will be on here. And yeah, looking forward to connecting with you and answering any other questions that you may have. You may have noticed that there's actually no sourcing fee, which is always a bonus. But the reason for that is that the commissions in Dubai are actually paid by the developer. So there's no need for you to pay a sourcing fee as you would do in the UK. So yeah, I think unless you've got any other questions, that's probably it from us for now.
Thank you so much, Ed. I want to thank you both for such an informative episode. No more questions so far. What I would say is I have dropped the link to Ed's window so that you can have those conversations with Ed and Katie in a more in-depth level, as Ed has mentioned, just so that they understand where you are with regards to what you want to achieve for a goal, your plan, and that journey between where you are right now and achieving that. We have one more question from Arthur, which is, what is the name of the company who tracks the developments? I think, Katie, you mentioned that in your very informative session.
The REST app, Arthur, REST.
Yes.
It's an application, free to download, and you'll be able to see all the information on there about the developers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to mention, I actually dropped a link into the chat to the Dubai Land Department website with the REST app overview and all of the features.
Oh, perfect.
So if you scroll back through the chat, Arthur, it should be in there.
And what we'll do is I'm so sorry. What we'll do, I do not know what's going on. Apologies. What we'll do is we will add the relevant links to the YouTube channel so that you can grab them there, or you can reach us at admin@sourcinginvestments.co.uk. We will add those and send those across to you for anyone that actually emails in. For the viewers that watch on the replay, we will add those links there on the YouTube channel as well. I want to really thank Katie and Ed. Katie, another amazing presentation. If you're unsure of anything, please reach out to Katie and Ed. I have dropped the link to Ed's portal so that you can have those conversations and in-depth conversations, as already mentioned. And if you want to watch the January episode, it's well worth watching because Katie does go into a lot more detail around tax, certifications, REST, and how this industry in Dubai has become a very safe and secure space to invest in with regards to property. With that, I would love to thank my guests again. So Katie and Ed, thank you both for such an informative episode. To all of our viewers who are here live, thank you for joining us. I can see Arthur and Vasca, but thank you also to Stella, Gov, Hayden, Louis, as well. Thank you for joining us, and to all of our viewers that watch us on the replay too. Again, any questions, reach out to admin@sourcinginvestments.co.uk, or reach out to Ed with regards to the questions where Ed and Katie can help you in the most informative way. Thank you again.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.